Howdy. Good evening, everybody. It is 9:47 p.m. on Thursday, March 2nd. And it is 45 degrees, which is kind of chilly for us. So I got the heater on. Day 49, almost at that 50-day mark of 75 hard. I'm done with everything except for my picture. I got everything done relatively early today. Did my normal walk in the morning, and then did some running around, and then had did my second workout, and then went to dinner with some friends and came home. That's it. The extent of my day. Nothing exciting. Nothing exciting today that I can think of. A lot of work. I didn't drive today. But I had a lot of paperwork to do. So, yeah. Pretty basic day. I guess you could say it was a little bit boring. I was busy all day, but I don't have anything monumental to say about my day. But I have a list of topics that I want to talk about. One of the things I want to talk about is I listen to a lot of podcasts, because I drive a lot, obviously, and normally I'm working, and I'm thinking, and I'm planning, and kind of my mind's occupied, so I don't listen to the radio or anything when I'm kind of thinking about how things are going to work the next day or whatever. But sometimes when everything quiets and I got some stuff figured out, then I listen to podcasts. And I came across this podcast that is pretty interesting, and I wanted to tell y'all about it. I think it's relatively new. Looks like September 22 it started, so it is pretty new. But it's called Talk to Me. And it's basically about the field of hostage negotiations. And they go through a bunch of case studies of very famous hostage negotiations, and kind of how the field of hostage negotiations came to be. How it started, how it didn't exist. Like, it didn't exist. Like, they just picked somebody and they started talking to them. Like, if there was a hostage situation, there was no, like, designated negotiator. They just picked the most senior guy, and he started talking to the people, and, bad stuff happened. So in New York, NYPD is who I think started the hostage negotiation field, and they came up with a team, and they had some guys that basically created it. And it's pretty interesting. They talk about some pretty famous hostage situations that went wrong. They talk about some that went right. But the ones that went wrong were obviously go very wrong. And that's what pushed them to realize that they need to do something else, and they need to come up with another way. So I'll put a link in my show notes to the podcast. I would listen to it on Spotify, but they're probably on Apple also, if you use Apple. I prefer Spotify. I prefer the functionality of Spotify. But you could probably get it anywhere. But it's Talk to Me. by Edward Conlon. And the guy has a pretty monotone voice. I like the way he speaks, and he's the guy. He was in this team. Yeah, I like the true crime kind of podcasts, and it's kind of a mix of true crime plus negotiations. But they talk about like the Olympics in '72 when the Israeli athletes were taken hostage. They talk about that. They talk about some bank heists. They talk about a takeover of Attica prison. Bunch of stuff I hadn't learned before. I knew about the Israeli hostages, but I didn't really know how bad that went. And man, I mean, I knew the outcome, but I didn't know what led to the outcome. And this taught me. So, I don't know, it's pretty good. So, if you're driving, you got time, or you're walking or exercising or doing whatever, and you want to burn some time, I would look up that podcast. Talk to Me by Edward Conlon. Pretty interesting. That's it. Tomorrow's Friday. Woohoo. We got a lot of work tomorrow. Everybody's busy. Oh, and shout out. Griffin, my nephew, got his commercial license today. Pretty rad. So, congratulations to Griffin. That's awesome, man. Good job. It's a big accomplishment. So, Griffin gets a gold star on the chalkboard today. Day 49, 75 hard is done. Everybody have a great Friday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.